Caleb Plant finally responds to Canelo Alvarez. Payday, you want payday. I know that. And Canelo, the first failed negotiations for September. I'm about to talk about all that in this video. Stay tuned. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. We got to talk about it. Make sure you guys put a thumb up on the video. I encourage you to hit the like button. When you hit the likes, it goes a long way, notifying others that this is content that they are looking for. So make sure you guys smash the like button. It's on and popping. Canelo Alvarez, Caleb Plant, September fight, we now know, was canceled. Canelo waited to the last minute, as always. Caleb Plant has responded. Let's get into Caleb Plant's thoughts, and I'll give you some of mine. Caleb Plant verified page, and let's see what the boy Plant is talking about. So he posted this. This is from an ESPN reporter. It says, September 18th became tighter and tighter, and we made the decision today to focus on November. This was what Eddie Hearn had to say regarding the timetable for Canelo Alvarez's next fight, right? So he says, for the third consecutive year, Canelo Alvarez won't fight on the Mexican Independence Day weekend, one of the two annual dates reserved for boxing's top star. The pound-for-pound king was in talks to fight Caleb Plant, then Dimitri Bivol, but now set his sights on November. Whom do you think we'll see Canelo fight then? Full story, link in the bio. Man, it's looking bad for old media. Old media is down bad. I tried to tell y'all. Caleb Plant, here's his response. He says, for the third year in a row, for a date that's reserved for him, catches bullets with his teeth. Good, please. At what point is it not everyone else's fault? And at what point does it fall on the hands of him and his team? Talk to him, Caleb. You mean every opponent they've tried to book for the last 3 years is just ducking? Chill. Oh, it's looking bad for old media. Old media is down bad. Caleb Plant now telling you what the great Ego Stradamus has been telling you. This is a continual thing. Before ESPN reported it, who reported it? Canelo has not fought on the quote-unquote Mexican dates. And to further that, instead of just saying the last 3 years, the last 4 years, he has not fought on one of the Mexican dates, which we know are Cinco de Mayo weekend, May, first week of May, and the second week of September. The fourth year was when he was supposed to fight Gennady Golovkin, and Canelo Alvarez failed a drug test with clenbuterol. Canelo claims it was the meat he ingested in Mexico that was tainted, and he was suspended for 6 months, no fine, right? So he couldn't fight Cinco de Mayo. He was scheduled to fight. They even had a press conference, because that's when, if you remember, Abel Sanchez at the press conference said some things that got him in hot water. Abel Sanchez had basically stated that black fighters fight in a style that's unappealing or unpleasing to the eye. That's why it's hard to market. Or he said some BS, which we now know is cap. I mean, I knew it was cap back then, and I told you that back then, but we've seen examples of like Errol Spence and Sean Porter. They put out a fight of the year when they fought. And this is all stuff that happened after. So we know Abel was capping. And then after he said that, you know, it's been pretty quiet for Abel Sanchez. You haven't really heard much about him after Triple G left him. Now, back to this. So he missed Cinco de Mayo weekend with the failed drug test. And then, as Caleb Plant has said, which is what I already told you, he didn't fight all these Septembers, right? And there's another Mexican date that he missed, which was he was in long negotiations with Caleb Smith, and then the Caleb Smith negotiations fell apart. And then the rumor was he was going to fight Billy Joe Saunders on Cinco de Mayo 2020, so May 2020. And then Canelo Alvarez, before the fight with Billy Joe Saunders was even announced, Canelo Alvarez was met, and the whole world actually was met with the unfortunate news that we were in a global pandemic now, and they did the NBA shutdown, and the world pretty much shut down when we're talking in when it concerns live events. So live events were dead for a minute, right? So before his fight with Saunders was ever even officially confirmed, it was just rumor stage. There was no official flyer at that point. Even though he later fought Billy Joe Saunders, he was supposed to fight in May 2020, but before they could announce, the pandemic came about, and you know that everything was kaput. And just because I'm great at what I do, I'll give you guys some evidence, because I know when I say these things, it sounds shocking, and the Canelo Man fans, they get angry at me and they say, "Oh, Ego, you're just trying to make Canelo look bad." No. Canelo's team and his moves have made him look bad. I'm just reporting the facts. So there's that. So just to give you guys some tangible proof, he was with Golden Boy at the time. As you can see, April 17th, 2020. Eric Gomez says Canelo versus Saunders was never finalized and they had no contract signed. Says Golden Boy president revealed Canelo never signed a contract for a fight against Billy Joe Saunders to fight him. The deal was never finalized, right? So this is public knowledge, and this was people, even though he doesn't work with them now, right? Even though it doesn't work with them now, at the time, he was working with them. Saunders was being considered, but there were other considerations that we had. We never finalized that Saunders was being considered, and there were other considerations. There was no signed contract. We were very close to finalizing deals for this fight when the Rona hit. So everything I just told you now checks out. You know, you can't, like in the hood, you can't call somebody a snitch without showing no paperwork. You can't label somebody a snitch and not show paperwork. So everything I'm saying, when I'm saying Canelo is complicit and his negotiations have continued to fail, I'm showing you the paperwork, right? So the Rona impacted that, and then they said, we're not doing the fight no more, right? This was also confirmed, if you don't believe Golden Boy, by Billy Joe Saunders. Saunders, the Canelo contract had no real date and wasn't signed. So it says, listen, they didn't want to give me proper time to train, and they wanted to take millions of pounds from me. We all sat down. We decided if they're not going to do it properly, we will move on. Canelo hadn't even signed the contract yet. Only my signature was on it, right? So they gave Billy Joe Saunders a piece of paper, and no matter if you like Billy Joe Saunders, fair is fair. They didn't want to give him time to train for the fight, and these are the games that Canelo has continued to play. Now, the bad look for I was born ready, Canelo Alvarez, is he's no longer even with Golden Boy Promotions. So since he's not with Golden Boy Promotions, you know it's Canelo Alvarez and his behavior, and either him or Eddie Reynoso or the tandem of both of them or his team or whatever that is creating this. Because how do you have the same lingering problems, failed, stalled, dead negotiations continue to happen? You forfeit the dates that you have reserved for yourself, that you say, oh, this is so important, I need these dates, right? And then you can't get an opponent, even though you're not even with Oscar De La Hoya, Eric Gomez, Roberto Diaz, Golden Boy Promotions, and you with a whole different promoter in Eddie Hearn, and you're supposed to be a free agent. I told you guys, I told y'all didn't want to listen. The walls are closing in for Canelo to do what is right. Now Canelo has switched up, and he posted this, probably seemingly a response to the videos I put out and the commotion we created, because we was kicking up dust like, damn, Canelo gave up another Mexican Independence Day weekend. This is what Canelo said after I did all them videos and everybody was talking about it. He says, it does not matter the day I fight. The day my fight is the day of all us Mexicans, Mexico flag. So now Canelo has become so big-headed where he says, it don't matter when I fight. Whenever I fight, that's when you get it, right? But previously, this is what Canelo said. Canelo wants to take the Mexican dates from Floyd Mayweather, right? And he used and manipulated the public and says Canelo looking to take back the Mexican dates from Floyd Mayweather. Canelo wants to fight on the 2 big Mexican dates in 2015. So over the years, Canelo has changed his tune. First, he went from saying, I gotta fight on those dates. We gotta get it back from this black fighter. He's not even of Mexican descent, to now canceling all his Mexican dates for one reason or another, at least one of them per year. And then it's everybody else's fault. Y'all saying Caleb Plant is the problem. Al Heyman, PBC, Louis de Cubas Jr. is the problem. But it's continually Canelo, whether he's with Oscar and Golden Boy, Eddie Hearn, if he's tied to Golden Boy, if he's a free agent, all the moves look the same. So once again, what Caleb Plant is saying, the 3rd year in a row, and the date, this is the date you want to fight. How is it so hard for you to attain the names that you want? When we see Floyd Mayweather, and he was the face of boxing because he was an active fighter, you never seen this problem. Floyd, who isn't Mexican, continued to fight, said he wanted to fight on those dates. They were lucrative dates and they became a tradition. Floyd continued to stay disciplined, stay ready, stay in shape, and fight on those given dates with no fail for years. But Canelo, who said he wanted, I got to get them dates back, and these are my dates for the Mexican people. Now he's saying it don't matter when I fight. You get to fight when I get to fight. Now everyone's saying he was giving me little time to train in camp, and his fights are taking forever. Look, Canelo Saunders was close, but never finalized with no contract. And now you see the problem. Canelo Alvarez, how do you keep having the same problem where people getting short camps, quick turnarounds? They told Caleb Plant before he fought Vincent Fainsbutt, right? They told him allegedly they wanted to fight him, and he hadn't even got it the week of the fight. Like, that's not how you do business. So it's clear to me that it's Canelo's doing, him and Eddie Reynoso, his manager, and that's the real diva problem. Checkmate.